So today we're going to talk about something really important, epilepsy. Did you know that more than 470,000 children in the United States have active epilepsy? And while most cases are well controlled with medication, seizures can still happen when we least expect them, even at church. So I see you're working on safety procedures for your children's ministry. If no one has told you lately, thank you for doing that. It's so important to prepare for the unexpected. But when it comes to safety, for some kids, policies and checklists just aren't enough. There's something else that matters too. Epilepsy and children's ministry. Learn, look, and listen. When it comes to working with kids, safety is priority one. So when we serve students who have epilepsy, what can we do to help keep them safer too? Well, we can learn more. A seizure is a sudden, uncontrolled electrical disturbance in the brain. It can cause changes in behavior, movements, feelings, and in levels of consciousness. Epilepsy is often diagnosed when seizures are reoccurring. But what is more important for people who work with children to understand is that seizures don't all look alike. If you ask the average person on the street to describe a seizure, you'll likely hear, "Someone falls down and their arms and legs jerk uncontrollably." And that would be correct. But someone else could say, "A person stares into space, sometimes blinking or smacking their lips repeatedly for no reason at all." And that is correct too. And there's more. Seizures can look like sudden stiffening of muscles, sudden loss of muscle control, repeated rhythmic or jerky muscle movements, sudden brief jerk of the arms or legs, and some seizures can even affect a person's emotions and senses, sometimes even causing a person to suddenly taste or smell something that isn't there. And something else you want to know. Seizures can range from mild to severe, and most last between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. But any seizure that lasts longer than 5 minutes is a medical emergency. To learn more, we encourage you to check out one of these great resources. But what else can we do to help students who have epilepsy? How about look around? Sometimes we don't know why a person has a seizure, but other times triggers can be identified. In fact, the Epilepsy Foundation has put together a list of common seizure triggers. And pay close attention, children's ministry leaders, to the last two on the list. Common triggers include being overtired, illness, drugs, alcohol, certain medications, too much caffeine, menstrual cycle, low blood sugar, and loud noises and bright flashing lights. What? Loud noises and flashing lights? Well, thank goodness those never show up at church. Oh wait, there they are. Yep, we need to remember that what is exciting and engaging for some can be tough or even harmful for others. So how do we create environments that work for everyone? Well, you could start by turning down the volume and choosing gradually changing lighting instead. These may sound like small things, but in fact, making these tiny changes actually tears down barriers for people who have epilepsy, are on the autism spectrum, or have sensory processing issues like me and many more people than you might expect. And the rest of your kiddos can still enjoy the environment too. But what if this still isn't enough? Well, you want to make sure that you have a quiet area where a child who is feeling overwhelmed can go if needed, because sometimes avoiding a trigger, like flashing lights, can be the difference between a morning at church and a morning at the emergency room. But perhaps the most important thing that you can do to help create a safer environment for kids who have epilepsy is this. Listen to the experts. Experts like the Epilepsy Foundation have helpful resources that every church should have, like information on what to do if someone has a seizure. Do stay with the person and move any harmful objects out of the way. If the person is not awake and aware, do turn them on their side and put something small and soft underneath their head. And do have someone call for help. Do not restrain them. Do not put anything in their mouth. And do not panic, because staying calm helps everyone. And there's great resources to learn what you can do before someone has a seizure. If you know that you have a student who has epilepsy, then you want to have a seizure action plan in place before an emergency happens. You can download a seizure action plan form on the Epilepsy Foundation website and then ask parents or guardians to fill it out before the information is ever needed. To download a copy of the Epilepsy Foundation Seizure First Aid poster and the Seizure Action Plan, visit epilepsy.com or join our Facebook group. Now I know what you're thinking. What if a student comes and we don't have that form filled out yet? That's a great question, and the answer is this: listen to the experts. Only this time, the experts are your parents and guardians. They know their child best, so make sure you ask them these 3 questions. If we suspect your child is having a seizure, what should we look for? If your child is having a seizure, what should we do? And if your child is having a seizure, who should we call? Wow, I feel like we learned a lot about epilepsy today. But there's one more thing before we go. Remember at the beginning of this video where we said thank you? We just want to say it again. If you serve in children's ministry, thank you. What you do is so important. It's not always easy, but it matters. We just want you to know you are appreciated.